What's the bamboo for?
It's for Halloween.
What does bamboo have to do with Halloween?
It's the sound a ghost makes when it runs into a wall. Bam, boo. Welcome to the Lunch Bites with Lainie Halloween Special. Starring Lainie, her dad, with Little Tasty. Special appearance by Bob. And introducing your host. He won the 5th grade talent show when he was in 12th grade. He's authored the jokes that you find on your popsicle sticks. The Pun King, Lainie's dad. Welcome to our first ever Halloween Spooktacular. All right, let's talk about costumes. Colton, who are you?
Buck Rogers.
You're Buck Rogers from Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, one of our favorite shows that we'll be reviewing in here pretty soon. Lainie, what are you dressed up as?
A CHP officer.
A California Highway Patrol officer. And I see that your name tag says S. Cahill. What does that stand for?
Cindy Cahill.
From the classic 1970s TV show Chips with Ponch and John. Another of our favorites, which we'll be reviewing in here pretty soon too. And I, of course, am dressed as Alan Quatermain from King Solomon's Mines. Really? Richard Chamberlain? Alan Quatermain? You don't? Okay, well, then who do you think I am?
Indiana Jones.
Oh. Okay, well, I could be Indiana Jones then. I thought I was Alan Quatermain, but okay, that works. Well, we're going to talk about a bunch of things today. The first thing that we're going to start off with, though, is a movie that we saw a couple weeks ago. And what was the name of the movie?
House with a Clock in its Walls.
All right. Okay, so House with a Clock in its Walls, which was based on a book. And I actually read that book when I was a kid, long time ago. I was maybe Lainie's age when I read the book. And I didn't really remember it at all. And I honestly can't tell you if it's the same as the movie or not, because I used to read a lot of mystery books. But I remember having the book and reading it, and I think I still might even have it. So what did you think about it?
I liked it. I thought that in some places, like, it was a little bit scary, but in, like, a fun way.
Okay.
Like, they're kind of messing with you in a way.
All right.
And so that was kind of fun for me. I liked how that at the one part, they even do it in the trailer. He's like, please, 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 please. And then the uncle's like, fine, have it your way. And then he puts all of the books down. It's kind of funny.
Okay. So it had some funny moments. Colton, did you like it?
Uh-huh. I liked the chair and Lewis.
You liked the chair and Lewis. Tell me a little bit about the chair, because that's a good part. What did the chair do?
It rolled around.
And what else? What was it like? What was the chair like?
It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
One part, it got cut and then all the stuffing went out.
Yeah.
I think it kind of acts like a pet almost.
Yes, it was. I think it was like a dog. Did you think it was a little bit like a dog? Yeah, so the chair has a personality. It walks around, and the cushions of the chair open up like its mouth, and it makes noises, and it runs around kind of like a dog. So it's a pet, and it's a very good character. I agree with you. I forgot about the chair, actually, until you mentioned it. That's a good point.
And it's also kind of funny because in Beauty and the Beast, the footstool to the chair is the pet.
Very good point. So it's very similar to that. And you like Lewis. Lewis was the little boy who's sort of the main character. He's kind of the one we follow around in the story.
I think maybe part of my favorite character list will probably be the lion, especially on what he does.
Oh, right. And you want to talk about the lion a little bit?
Sure.
You don't have to say what he does necessarily, but what is the lion?
The lion's like a stone, and then, like, I think when they come out, like, the lion starts to move and...
He's part of the garden.
Yeah.
He's a figure in the garden, and he comes to life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So he's an interesting character, too. Again, that's another character that me, as an adult, I had forgotten about in the story, like the chair. And those are the characters that sort of stuck out in your minds. So that's an interesting take on it.
I actually forgot about the lion, too.
Right. So, but you remembered the chair. So you guys thought about the chair and the lion, and that's really interesting because I completely forgot about them. For me, Now, I liked Jack Black as Uncle Jonathan. I thought he was a lot of fun. I've liked him in all the films that he's done that are the family films. I liked him in this. I liked him in Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. I loved him in School of Rock. I thought he was really good in all those, and he was a lot of fun in this. But the other character that I liked a lot was his friend, Florence. She's Florence Zimmerman, that's played by Kate Blanchett. What did you guys think of her?
I thought she was like really cool and funny.
Yeah. Colton, did you like her? What we haven't told you is Uncle Jonathan and Florence are both, they both do magic, right? They do magic. And she had a great character. She dresses all in purple, right? Mm-hmm. And she has an umbrella, and she also practices magic. And for me, her character was something between Mary Poppins crossed with Emma Peel from the Avengers. I swear they should spin her character off and give her her own movie. She was a lot of fun. What she was able to do with the umbrella and her spells were great. She had that great banter with Uncle Jonathan. Remember how they would insult each other? I think one of my favorite lines, she said, I can't remember if he said it to her or she said it to him, but one of them said to the other, I'd give you a nasty look, but you already have one.
And the chocolate chip cookies looking good.
Yeah. Again, I forgot all about the chocolate chip cookies, but I should have known you would remember that. They did look good. Yep. And Uncle Jonathan was kind of cool because when Louis goes to live with him, he's like, you know, for dinner, do you want chocolate chip cookies? And Louis says, I haven't even eaten dinner yet. And Uncle Jonathan says, well, have chocolate chip cookies. And Miss Zimmerman kept making them, so that was kind of fun. Okay, so did you have a favorite part of the movie, Colton? What was your favorite part?
I like it when Lewis made mad at Uncle Jonathan on the bus.
Okay, all right, that was a good part. That's toward the beginning of the movie. Lane, do you have a favorite part?
I can't really say I liked it all.
Okay. Was there anything that scared you?
I think there were some parts that like startled me and I kind of kept looking away and peeking back. Like the part where they buried the person or unburied him under the ground. And also like towards the end where like Isaac and the one girl were like doing the machine, the clock inside the wall.
Okay, all right. Colton, did anything scare you? No? You sure? Well, I didn't let you watch the parts I think that would have scared you. There were a couple parts,
Right.
and I didn't let you watch them. I will say, as a parent, I was a little bit fooled by the rating of this movie. The movie is rated at a level where I didn't expect to find some of the things in it. 3/4 of the movie, maybe 2/3 to 3/4 of the movie, it's perfectly fine. We get into that last segment of the movie, and there were several scenes in there that were somewhat questionable, and I had to, you know, I wouldn't let Colton watch those because they were very frightening. I think you'd be okay. You just have to censor it a little bit because it was a really good movie and it was very enjoyable, but I think it's not rated properly necessarily. But you guys enjoyed it? Mm-hmm. Yeah? Okay. So,
But one part I forgot it about.
okay.
The part when he bounces the ball and it hits the person and then it jumps into the hoop.
Right, and it's a basketball game, right? And that goes back to when he was being bullied earlier in the film. Nobody would pick him for the basketball team, and he was being picked on and kind of bullied. And then what happens? What is he doing? What does he do when he's with Uncle Jonathan? Remember when he first comes to Uncle Jonathan, he doesn't know anything about magic, right? Louis, what does he do?
Uncle Jonathan teaches Lewis.
Right, he teaches him about magic. And so Louis starts practicing magic. And then the part you're referring to is later in the movie when he's on the basketball team, he uses a magic spell, right? And that helps him. And then people start to notice him. Some of the other kids start to notice him and think he's kind of a cool kid, I think, at that point, a little bit.
And all of them wanted to get him on their team.
On their team at that point, because they realized, because at first he's different and they don't really, you know, he wears these goggles on top of his head, right? Because of this character, this fictional character that he likes, that's his hero. Like I'm wearing Indiana Jones and you're wearing Buck Rogers and you're wearing Cindy Cahill because those are kind of heroes. Well, he was wearing those goggles on top of his head through the movie because he had a hero and he wanted to dress like his hero. Now we're doing this on Halloween, but he was doing it every day. which is fine. But the other kids thought it was different and kind of weird, and they picked on him for it, right? Yeah. So, but eventually he figured out who he was, and he was comfortable with who he was, and that worked out for him. And then he made a friend there, too, right? Let's go through and say, Lainie, yummy or crummy for you?
Yummy.
Yummy? And it was yummy for me. I really enjoyed it. I thought there was a lot of fun parts in it. Not the greatest movie you're ever going to see. It certainly wasn't up to Jumanji level for me, but there was some fun segments in it, and I loved the Florence Zimmerman character. I thought she was great. I really did. And Colton?
I liked it.
You liked it? Okay. So I guess we're going to recommend that one.
And now, wisdom from Bob.
If you must choose between two evils, pick the one you've never tried before.
Back to our feature presentation.
Okay, so now we're going to give you some recommendations of our favorite Halloween specials or movies that you might like to enjoy this season. And I think we're going to start with Colton. You ready? All right, Colton, what's your recommendation?
Spookly.
Spookly the Square Pumpkin. All right, tell us a little bit about Spookly.
I liked it because at the end they called him a hero, and the song made him sad, but he was one cute square pumpkin.
Right. Now, he's different because most pumpkins are what shape?
Round.
Round. And he's square. So the song that you're talking about is when they're making fun of him because he's square, right? And it made him, you said, what did it make him?
Sad.
Made him sad, right? So what happens, through the course of the movie, he turns out to be a pretty good guy, right? He's a pretty good pumpkin. And he does something, like you said, where everybody looks at him as a hero. And how was he able to do that? What made it so that he could say, that he could do this heroic thing?
He saved the Jack. He saved all the pumpkins.
And it's because why? Do you remember? Because he is
Square.
square, exactly.
And it actually says
And the wheel
that,
didn't roll over him.
Right.
and it actually says that in the good weather, it's good to be round, but in the bad weather, it's better to be a square.
Right. So now, well, do you like this show? You've seen it. Do you like this show?
I think it was okay. I like how Spookly's cute, and all of the other pumpkins, like they're doing the Jack Olympics and stuff like that. The songs were okay.
Okay. And for me, now this is one of the books that I loved to read to you guys when you were little. Well, you're still little, but when Lainie was little, I read this book to her too. And the book is a wonderful book, and it's just right. It just tells, the story is just long enough and gets all the points across.
Just like we went to the Spookly pumpkin patch and you read us the story and the fence.
That's right. There's a pumpkin patch near us, and they have a spookly theme to the pumpkin patch, and on the fence they have the story. And that's the actual pages of the storybook that we read. And the story is just the right size. It's just long enough, and it tells everything that it needs to tell. And it's a nice story. When they made a TV show out of it, they somehow felt the need to lengthen it. And they also felt like the kids probably wanted songs in it, so they added songs to it. And they actually added extra characters to it. And for me, they did a little too much. I mean, they stretched it a little too far because the story as it was perfectly shaped. But Colton, I agree with you. It's a good story. It's a nice story. It's got a great message. And he is a cute pumpkin, so I agree.
And when we went to get donuts, there was a TV just the right size for kids, and it showed the Spookly movie.
Right.
Yeah.
And so,
the pumpkin
and
patch.
what you're actually pointing out with that is, if there's a pumpkin patch near us that has a spookly theme to it, and it has a TV show showing it, and a storybook on the fence, and all these kids come, and there's a lot of kids there, right? And they all love it. Obviously, the show must be a good show. Kids must like it. So I think you're 100% right. All I'm saying is that the book's a little stronger because the structure of the book is just right with the size, and they might stretch a little too far. But I agree with you. He's a great character, and it's a great story. So I think it's a really good recommendation. So you're recommending it for kids your age. Would you recommend it for kids your age?
I think it's edible.
Okay. And I would say, it's a nice family film to watch. So I think it's a good recommendation, Colton. Let's move over to Lainie. You're going to give us your recommendation.
I like The Nightmare Before Christmas.
The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is a Tim Burton film. It's quite a few years old now, actually. It's actually a Disney property. So tell us a little bit about The Nightmare Before Christmas and why you like it.
I like it because I like how all of these like zombie, almost like her, like she's not really a zombie, but she like has stitches all over that puts her kind of together like that. And all these like people, they basically live in Halloween. And
Like a Jack the Pumpkin King.
Right, he's the main character, Jack the Pumpkin King.
And I think it's basically almost the only holiday they know. And what happens is that Jack the Pumpkin King, he gets out of his door.
He
And
leaves Halloween Town, or
Right.
whatever the land is. I'm not sure what the name of it is, but yes.
And there's these trees, and they all have a door on them with a symbol on them.
For a holiday.
And the one he goes in, I think it's either a Christmas ornament or it's a Christmas tree. And he opens the door and he goes in, and he kind of almost takes Santa's place. Like he finds it all, and then he sings the song, and then he goes out, goes back to his town, and he like makes the Santa outfit and all of this stuff to like deliver it to people like Santa would.
Right. So the land they live in is all based in Halloween. Everything they know is Halloween. It's all scary stuff and Halloween based.
But the presents weren't that good for me because they were all spooky for the children.
Right,
Which he
right.
didn't know because
Right.
he only knows.
Right, because when he leaves Halloween Town, like Lainie said, he goes and he finds Christmas. And they don't know anything about Christmas, but he sees this other holiday and he falls kind of in love with the idea of Christmas. So he goes back to Halloween and he tries to recreate Christmas in the Halloween land. And you're right, he gives gifts, but the gifts are very strange gifts. But, it fits. So it's
Like
kind of an
the-
interesting take on it.
Like when the parents freak out, the boy gets a dead face.
Right, right. Yeah, so they're spooky, creepy gifts. But it's the thought that counts. Remember that this Christmas. So, all right, so this is a little bit more of it's not necessarily, adults can enjoy this certainly, but it's a little bit more darker in tone, let's say, than spookly. Is there anything in it that scares you or bothers you?
I don't think a lot of it bothers me or scares me. It doesn't really scare me at all.
Okay.
There's just basically one thing that bothers me, and it's in the beginning of the film when the girl is, I think she's working for this like middle guy with a brain.
Okay.
And the brain opens, or his head opens up, and you see the brain and
Right.
like the spoon and stuff, and
That's because he's open-minded,
right.
and you got to
but-
stay open-minded. Okay. Colton, did anything scare you or bother you in this?
No.
No? Do you like this? Yeah, you like this film? Okay, and I'll give you my take on it. I saw this when it was out in theaters. I had different expectations for it. I thought it was going to be like the Rankin Bass holiday specials that I loved as a kid, but just a Halloween version of it. So when I went to it, and it had this very dark Tim Burton vibe to it, the first time I saw it, I wasn't thrilled with it. I didn't really like it a lot. But again, I went in with expectations. Over the years, as the kids have watched it repeatedly, I do see that there's a certain charm there, and I can understand it. It's creepy. I don't think it's scary necessarily, but there are creepy parts that maybe for little kids would bother them. So, yummy or crummy for you, Lainie?
Yummy.
Yummy. Colton, you liking it? You liking it? And you know, for me, it's edible to yummy. It's somewhere between edible and yummy, I'd say. All right. So I guess it's time now for me to give my recommendation. Can you guess what I might recommend?
The
The
good
Great Pumpkin.
The Great Pumpkin. What did you think it was, Colton? The Good Pumpkin? That pumpkin's great. He's a great pumpkin, yes. It's going to be the old chestnut Charlie Brown's Halloween special, which is It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. This has been around since before I was a kid. These came out before I was a kid, and it's sort of a Halloween tradition that I would watch it every year. I love all the Charlie Brown specials. I think it just, for whatever reason, Charles Schultz and his writing and his comic strips, he seemed to tap into something with my generation anyway, where you would really enjoy it. It probably is partially that I identify with Charlie Brown a little bit, but I think it's great. I love Snoopy. I've always loved Snoopy. There's a segment in this particular special where Snoopy he's flying his doghouse. He's the World War I flying ace a little bit, so they try to work that in. It works okay. I mean, sometimes it takes you out of it a little bit, but I don't care. I enjoy it. I wondered if you guys liked it. Colton, do you like It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie? It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown?
I like it. The silly part for me was when Charlie Brown made the silly costume for the ghost and he had trouble doing it.
Right, and I'm going to be honest with you. I was going to come today as the Charlie Brown ghost, you know, because he tries to cut the holes for his eyes in the ghost costume, and he has trouble with the scissors, he says, so he cuts too many holes. That's the costume I was going to wear today, but I thought it would be a little difficult to host the show in that costume, so I didn't. But yes, that's a very funny part. Lainie, what do you like? Do you like this? Do you like this special?
Definitely. And there was one funny part well, not one, there were many, but one of the funny parts for me was when the guys kept dropping rocks in his bag.
Yes, every house they go to, and if you watch carefully, you can see it. When they all go up to the house, you can see candy going in everybody's bag, and you can always see a rock getting thrown into Charlie Brown's bag. And then they leave the house, and they say, I got this, I got that, and he goes, I got a rock every time. So, but if you watch carefully, you can see the rock go in the bag. So, anything in here scary for you guys?
No.
I wouldn't think so. Who's your favorite character in Charlie Brown, Colton?
Snoopy and Woodstock.
Snoopy and Woodstock. Lainie, do you have a favorite?
I think I actually like Linus and Sally, how like Sally waits for Linus and the Great Pumpkin and stuff. So.
And Sally wants to kiss Linus.
Yes, because he's her sweet baboo. Not bamboo, baboo. Right. So you like the Linus. I'm a huge Snoopy fan, so I've always liked Snoopy, and so I like him in this. But I like I said, I really enjoy Charlie Brown and what he goes through, and you know, I think it's a lot of fun. So I'm going to recommend It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Okay. Anything else? Any last thoughts on the Halloween special?
No.
No? No? You want to say boo to the folks at home? Boo!
And next time.
Yeah, see? So Daddy got booed for his jokes.